We were born and raised in Philadelphia, and it was a really cool community that we grew up in because everybody sort of looked after everybody. We called it like a little mini social system. If somebody was hungry, a neighbor would feed them like that. It wasn't a very wealthy area, but we had a lot of fun hanging in the streets, and that's where we learned to sing, really. We used to sing all the time.
Because music was a way of life for us. Music was always in our lives. We sang outside playing. The games that we played, little street games, they were musical games, right? And we were in Glee Club in school. So music was just a way of life. We enjoyed it. There was a lot of singing in our home. And if someone was doing something that they shouldn't have been doing, there was always an old lady down the street, Miss Clark.
That's right.
What are you doing? When your parents come home, I'm going to tell them, get back on your porch. So it was true community. It really was.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yes. Our father was a tap dancer. As a matter of fact, he was one of the very first dancers on Broadway. At that time, you did not see very many blacks on Broadway. And also, he was really very well established, and he gave us a deep love and appreciation for the stage. He used to tap dance for us, get us up and have us going.
Our mother was a movie actress, and our mother, she doesn't sing, and she thinks she can.
Johnny.
Seriously, we didn't get our talent from Mom. But she can dance, and she was a great movie actress.
Our grandmother was a classical artist, so of course she would have us listening to Madame Butterfly, and at the same time, maybe on the same day, we'd hear Billie Holiday and Hugh Masekela
or some show tunes,
or James Brown. So
yeah,
great variety.
Our parents didn't encourage us to be in show business at all. It was more like kind of a metamorphosis. We just grew up around show business, but our mother was a real stickler for education, so it was important to her that we all have careers to fall back on and get our college degrees, so we did that.
Our education was so important to us. It was sort of all that we really did know outside of music, and it was impressed on us that it was important. But I would say the music thing was more recreation, and it was fun, and we really loved to do it, so one hand washed the other. For instance, I remember we would perform all week long. We'd be in school all week long, perform on the weekends, roll out of the van, and jump right into the school door. I mean, we would work seriously until like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then come home straight to the schoolyard.
We worked on the weekends, period. Every weekend we worked, and during the week we went to school. So it was a side thing until we made enough money to so that our mom, because our mom was the one that really raised us, could stop working and work with us. Mm-hmm. And she was really responsible for being our everything. She was the valet, she was the business manager, she was the driver. And I think that's when we realized, this is serious, because we're able to make a living doing it.
The funniest thing about performing back in 1974, when we were all really junior high school, I remember we recorded an album, and it was just fun. But then I remember we got asked to participate in the Tokyo Music Festival.
Oh, that was a blast.
I was like, what is that? Wow. So we all jumped on a plane, and here we are in our jeans, and we had our rollers and, sweatshirts and suits and sneakers and everything else. And we get off of a plane, and we're in Japan, and we're seeing kids our age, and zillions of them with posters and pictures, and we're saying, my goodness, this is really going on.
This is real.
This is real.
We actually are singers.
But then right after that, coming home and jumping on the bus with a little token and going to school. So what did you do, Sledge, this weekend? Oh, nothing.
I think we worked every single club in New York City,
New Jersey, Philadelphia, all the surrounding areas that we could drive to in our station wagon with all of our equipment loaded up in the back of it every weekend. It was really great. It was a lot of fun for us, too. What we did do is we realized it was really a career. Eventually, I think the older we got, the more honed we got, the more exposure we got in the areas, the local areas. And our name, we started to build a little name in the area. we said we should take this very seriously. So that meant not that we weren't taking it seriously before, because singing for us was a serious thing. Our grandmother had sort of instructed us in the beginning and taught us about breathing and singing properly, and that it was a real craft. But the idea of actually performing on a stage and having choreography and, and costumes all of a sudden.
These people
Yes.
just bombarded us with ideas for what we should look like, what we should wear, how we should perform. And we were just so used to, throwing on our jeans and our boots and being all over that stage. It was really hard. We were in these lemon yellow long dresses with restrictions and hair pieces. And
these little turkey basters that they made these hats out of to put on top of our heads.
We drew the line.
That's it. You can put a dress on me, but you're not going to put a turkey baster on top of my head. I will not do it.
Marty Bryant, boy, that's a blast from the past. Marty Bryant was a songwriter in Philadelphia, and I remember working at a studio in Philadelphia for the first time with the Stylistics, I think. We were singing a song that Marty Bryant wrote, and he wrote for them. Mm-hmm. So we had a chance to experience the studio vibe through him. He was our first, producer.
Yes, he was, and he was very, very talented, energetic.
Yeah,
and
fun.
He really, I think he had a lot of faith in us, which I appreciate now. I remember his energy.
Me too.
In the studio with Niall and Bernard was quite an experience. It was a very big challenge. First of all, they were so talented, and I call them geniuses. I do believe that. I believe they were just multi-talented. And I think they had a lot of, the word is not narrow. It's seeing something exactly, seeing it to the end. So they had to make us understand that they had a vision for the way they saw the songs that we did. At the same time, what that meant was, it's really interesting. We were an act that was used to doing like harmonies and singing a cappella, and we had sort of a way that we performed. So putting those two together, they would say, no, unison, not harmony, unison on this part. We said, unison? We're harmony people. What do you mean? But of course, they were older and they were bullies and they made us cry. So, no, what we did is there was a lot of learning to understand what it was like to work with producers who saw things a certain way. And they watched us. They took the time to check out the whole session and see how we did interact with each other. Mm-hmm. They saw that we stuck together with everything, that if they were going to bully one of us, they had to bully all four of us. And they were nice to one, they had to be nice to everybody. No, it was really a song that depicted who we were.
We were just getting to know Niall and Bernard as new producers. And we weren't really aware of their music at all when we first met them. Mm-hmm. And it just seemed like everybody they touched started really popping off and having success, and we were just really grateful that we had that opportunity. It was a good match.
They were actually looking for an artist for Niall and Bernard to work with, and we happened to have been on the same company, and we actually seemed to suit their situation, and they ours as well. And they just, I guess it was sort of just let's pull them together and see what happens with this group. I think the ages that we were and the sound that we had was one that seemed to work well with what they were trying to do. And when that came together, We Are Family came together.
Actually, Niall and Bernard wrote every song on the We Are Family album. That was we did feel like we wanted to contribute some of our own music, and we weren't allowed to do that. At that time, we were really young, and the record companies have changed quite a bit since then, but we were told exactly what we could and couldn't do and how we had to do things. So it was a little difficult in that respect. And man, if we had one record or one, two. Yeah. But we have since developed a lot in that area. I'm in business, and Kim is in law, and so she took entertainment law, and I took a lot of business courses that deal with music, and this has enabled us to have our own production company now, and know the ins and outs of how not to get
Twisted
screwed. So, good old mom had the right idea.
During the disco era, we didn't necessarily live much of being a part of the disco era as people going in to appreciate it and party in it. Only after the show. But we were actually a part of that in terms of performing in the disco era. When we were able,
We played every
after
disco
shows,
on the planet.
we did, to
Especially
go
in New
out.
York.
Because every now and then we could go out after shows in different places. Boy, did we party! And that's how we knew how much fun it was. And it wasn't a matter of getting high and going crazy.
Yeah, you know.
It was just dancing and having fun.
And I agree with you, because I was really disappointed when I see films about the disco era. They're always overladen with a lot of drugs and sex, and that we didn't even know that side of it. It's really weird. I said to myself, "Wow, I didn't even know there was a secret room under Studio 54," and I didn't realize people were really into drugs like that. I think there again, because we had our mother and our grandmother
and our aunts
traveling with us,
Uncles.
we were challenged. And now that I'm older, I'm really grateful that we never really got into that side of it.
Believe it or not, there was a major disco show where they put the funk acts together with the disco acts.
Oh my gosh.
Which was great because we had George Clinton there, Brides of Funkenstein, the Funkadelics. Everybody was there, and our grandma was traveling with us. Rick James, and of course us. It's like, how does all this work together? But it was so much fun because there was respect for all the different kinds of artists. And in the middle of it, you have this classical artist, my grandma, just being showered with kisses from people like Rick James. To me, that was just a real highlight.
We've had a very interesting and very rich career. We are very grateful because we've had the opportunity to travel all over the world. It was very exciting. It was. It seemed like it was nonstop. It just seemed like a constant energy. People love to dance. People release a lot in dance. It brought generations of people together. In discos, you'd find all ages, all colors, all types of people. And so I think that was a great era. And performing songs, older songs that we did in the past, are a real kick for us now because we perform them differently. We do disco versions. But then, because we're singers and we really enjoy making the experience new for us, we do a lot of different things. We add harmony, and we might just do arrangements that are, we might put some jazz arrangement right in the middle of Lost in Music and then break it down and go back.